Hello, everybody, and welcome to the AfricaNEV podcast. Today, our focus is on energy, and to be very specific, the energy situation in Kenya. And to discuss that with me today, we have as our special guest, John Msingo, who is a solar and biogas expert with 5 years experience, and he's currently the head of renewable energy at GitHub Engineering. John, welcome to the AfricaNEV podcast.
Thank you very much, Gad. How are you?
I'm doing very well. How about yourself?
Not bad.
How is COVID-19 treating you guys over there in Kenya?
We are marching on and soldiering on, trying to be safe and trying to survive at the same time.
All right. Anyway, John, the data I have before me, it says that Kenya currently, you have 53.8 million population.
Yes.
Of that population, 34.3 million have access to electricity, and then 19.4 does not have access to electricity. Can you give us a brief background about the Kenyan energy landscape?
Okay. Yes. Those statistics are it's a bit difficult to really trust them, and I'll give you reasons in my presentation.
All right.
Yes. In terms of the energy sector, there are two main significant things that have happened during the last, let's say, almost 7 to 8 years.
Okay.
There was a project called the Last Mile Project. The Last Mile Project was financed by the African Development Bank and the government of Kenya. The aim of the Last Mile Project was to get connectivity to all parts of the country, especially the rural parts.
In other words, universal access.
Yes. And the thing with that was, once they bring the line of the grid next to you, you as the customer was expected to pay $150 US dollars connection fee.
Wow.
Yes. And that is actually a subsidized rate.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
So you see, when you go using the statistics for connectivity given by Kenya Power and Lightning Company, then we are not sure when we look at the statistics.
Because well, this is from the African Energy Portal.
Who still get most of the data from Kenya Power.
Okay.
So you can see, you know, when they say energy access, when they bring the transformer or the cable lines to near where you are, but you don't have enough money to pay the $150, are you counted as, it's a really...
Okay. So the way the accessibility is counted is the challenge. In other words, Kenya Power may assume that once you have the potential to tap to the grid because you have a pole near you,
yes,
you are assumed to have access. When because of cost, you may not have access.
Exactly, God. Exactly.
Okay, I'm with you so far.
Yes, so that is one of the major projects that came up in Kenya that has really affected the Kenya landscape, the Kenya energy landscape.
Okay.
The second one is the M-Copper project, the M-Copper company. The M-Copper company was started in, when was it? It was started in, it launched commercially in 2012.
Okay. So around the same time as the Last Mile project.
Yeah, ironically, the Last Mile project started in April 2015. So M-Copper started 3 years earlier.
Okay.
Yeah. And you can see M-Copper currently, as of 2019, the customers it has over 750,000 customers.
Okay.
And those 750,000 customers are spread across Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, and Nigeria.
Okay.
Yes. Now, out of the 750,000, 300,000 of them are in Kenya.
Okay.
I'd like let me just give a brief of what some of the products that a simple copper project, a simple copper product. It consists of an 8-watt solar panel, a one rechargeable FM radio, 4 LED bulbs, which 1.2 watts, a 1 in 5 phone charger cable,
One was
basically like a charger cable that can charge 5 different types of phones.
okay. Okay.
Yeah. And a rechargeable LED torch. And finally, the control unit, which has a lithium-ion battery and a SIM card.
Controlling you for a lithium-ion battery
Mm,
and a SIM card. In other
yes.
words, it's remotely configurable.
Yes.
There's IoT there.
Yes. So, as you can see, the pricing of the M-Copper, you basically give out a deposit of $30. And then once you're done with the $30, they require a daily payment of 50 US cents.
50 cents per
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the total number of days, if you make all your payments,
So that's $15 for 30
yeah?
days. For 30 days, that's
Sorry?
$15. That is $15 for 30 days.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm.
But what about the universal access? Like how much averagely do people spend in a month?
How much?
Do people spend for the government projects, the last mile projects? How much do people normally pay on average, an average household?
An average household, for those ones, they pay about $3.
For the government projects?
Yes. You see, your average consumption for the rural household folk would be about $3 a month.
Okay.
Yeah.
If they're connected to the grid.
Sorry?
If they're connected to the grid, the average consumption
Yes,
is $3 per month.
exactly. Yes.
Okay. So let me ask some questions to verify something.
Yeah.
For the last mile project, it seems that the focus is on the rural community. Am I
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Now, for M-Copper, what is their focus? Is it on the urban disenfranchised people, I mean, definitely with regard to respect to energy, or the rural people, or both? What's their focus?
The people driving their business is mainly in the rural.
For
And it's
M-Copper,
in the rural, yeah, rural folk.
which
And
means
the
that
reason for
both projects, their focus on the rural
yes,
sector. Okay,
yes,
I get that clear. Please continue.
yes. So you can see for the M-Copper, this is the most basic of products that I've just highlighted, the total cost for you to own that small system, that small Pico system, would be about 240 US dollars. So once you have the 240 US dollars, you make your payments for the 420 days. you're done. The system, you own the system.
So
Me
it's
as
a form of
an
high purchase, like
exactly,
as you pay the deposit, you start using the system, and your payment is accruing towards paying off the cost of equipment.
exactly, yeah. So you can see the system cost is $240. And once you've finished paying off that, the
It's yours
system
forever.
becomes you. So you can even look in terms of costs what this means. If you're in the grid, first of all, the initial cost is $150, which is inaccessible to most people. If you compare the last mile project.
Okay.
150.
I'm wondering, from the initial figures you gave, because for the last mile project, I think it was what $150 for the last mile project.
Yes.
And the M copper is it? I cannot see the figure. We give some figure. I think $30.
Yeah.
All right, which is around five times cheaper or so.
Yes. Yes.
So out of the gate, the last mile project seems more expensive. However,
yes.
I saw that the daily payment for the M copper, when you add it for the month, you realize that you pay more. The only advantage is that at the end of a year and a half or so,
yes,
the equipment becomes yours and you know how to pay again.
Yes.
What is the average income of somebody living in rural Kenya in dollar terms?
I honestly do not have that figure, but I'll just return you back to these units. 300,000 of them have been sold in Kenya.
300,000.
300,000.
Which is 40% of the market share of what they have sold in all their operating countries.
Yes.
Because they are sold 750,000 so far.
Yes.
And Kenya alone has 300,000.
Yes.
So Kenya is their major market.
Yeah, because I think the main reason for that is because it was started here.
Okay.
And the reason why I'm saying it's because I foresee this as a trend that is going to happen all over Africa. You have the really big centralized systems, the government trying to push the really big centralized systems, but then you have the small players coming in with something that is affordable and works for the people in terms of the payment structure.
I will agree with you on that for a number of reasons. Or you want to hear my reasons?
Yeah, let me hear them.
Okay. I'm just thinking of my country, Ghana here. Our challenge, I don't think we have an issue mainly with accessibility, but we do have an issue with affordability. Mainly because, number one, 60% of our generation capacity is thermal now, when it used to be 100% hydro. Okay, so 60% thermal and 40% hydro. Then number two, and very importantly, we have overcapacity. I think we use 2.7 gigawatt hours or so at peak, and we have installed capacity for 5.7 or so. Do you get it? And most of the extra capacity is actually peak power. It's peak generation.
Yes.
So the government is paying a lot of capacity charges.
Yes.
You get it? And when you listen to the regulator, it seems that there's a lot of pressure for them to find a use for that capacity charges. So the regulator wants to find consumption for it, and they want to find ways to discourage people from going solar.
Yes.
When going solar actually is more practical from an affordability perspective. All right. One of the questions I was coming to ask you, anyway, I will get there. But you see that there are companies that are actually going for the commercial and industrial users with this sort of pay as you go or pay as you own business model.
Yes.
And from day one, you're able to see savings. Okay. So
Yes.
Ghana, yes, we have high level of access, but affordability and of course reliability
Yes.
are major factors that are going to drive people. For the commercial and industrial sector, especially those who produce during the day, it's a no-brainer. Once they see the business model, it's game over.
Yes.
Of course, there is the issue of the technology, they're not being familiar with it and all that, so they have to be made comfortable. But once enough people, the critical mass of users have testimonies to share, it's game over.
Absolutely,
So I agree
God.
with
I
you.
agree with you. I agree with you absolutely, God. Now, let me just jump the gun a bit. And the last time we were talking, I'm sure you've heard of the campaign Switch Off KPLC.
What?
There's a campaign. There's an online campaign.
Okay.
Called Switch Off KPLC.
No.
Okay.
I've not heard of that.
Sorry. Let me just explain that.
Is that Kenya Power?
Yeah, Kenya Power and Lightning Company. Yes.
Why? Why? I mean, sorry to cut you, but it sounds very weird to me. People want lights. Now you want the people who are providing the light to turn it off. Why? It sounds very odd.
Let me explain to you and then you'll understand. Because you see, you've said something that I've caught on very well. Why is it that you guys are using thermal power? More than almost, is it 40? You said almost 40% thermal power.
To be politically incorrect, this is my personal opinion.
Yeah.
I think that is because our politicians just lost track of the ball. It seems to me, and please, caveat emptor, is my personal opinion.
Yes.
So whoever you are listening to this is the personal opinion of Garashago. This is a position of AfricaNEV as an organization or whatnot. This is my personal opinion.
Yes.
It seems to me that the politicians figured out that constructing thermal plants is an easy way to make extra money because you can inflate the cost of the project. Do you get it?
Yes.
And I mean, if you are clever, you can also have an agreement with the people who own the thermal plant. So it's a PPE, right? So every time they make their revenue, you also get a cut. So even if you are not in power, your party is not in power, you will still be able to make some good income. Because when you look at some of the agreements, it makes absolutely no sense any other way than somebody is just trying to secure their personal interest. And now it seems that the regulator is being forced to sort of regulate not with the interest of the consumer in mind, but with
other people's interest.
A way of maintaining the status quo.
Yes.
Absolutely. I was in a presentation where one of an officer of the Energy Commission was like, if the way things are going, if they look at the trend map, by 2023 thereabouts, a lot of people will be getting off the grid. And it's a problem. Then who will consume the power that has been, the capacity that has been created? Who will going to use that energy?
Yes. Absolutely. So, God, let me just explain to you what Switch Off KPLC is.
Yes, I'm very interested.
Yeah. So what happened was, Kenya Power
Okay.
included some charges in their financial statements of about 10.1 million US dollars for the year ending 30th June 2017.
Is that 4 years ago?
Yeah. So they basically put 10.1 million dollars in their balance sheet, in their accounts. And what they did, they started overcharging customers in order to recover that money.
Really?
Yes. This is a matter that is in court right now. So what happened?
What was the reasoning for that? That sounds very
Fishy.
odd.
Yes. So you can imagine, Kenyans just started noticing crazy amounts of power, crazy amounts coming in for your power bill. Okay. Everyone just complaining, and online people met up. There's a lady called Cherotich Say.
Cherotich? Okay.
Cherotich. It's spelled like J.
Don't worry. I'm sure that you give me the full spelling later. So for those of us watching, I think maybe I will put it below here for all of us to see. And you can Google here or whatever.
Mm. So Cherotich Say actually took the matter to court and won the case against KPLC.
As a lawyer or as a citizen?
As a citizen. As a citizen. This is she's basically she's an activist.
Okay.
Yeah. And by the time the court order had come, Kenya Power had recovered and overcharged people more than $2.1 million.
Okay.
So you can see what is happening. And the reason why this was happening was because the diesel, the thermal plants, people had to use them. You see, every time you have your bill, you can imagine Kenya right now has so much green energy, you see. But every time in your bill, you'll always find fuel adjustments, diesel prices. You're like, why?
But I think the last time we were talking, I was saying that last year there was a whole lot of talk all over the internet about Kenya's geothermal, and you have the largest wind farm in Africa currently. I mean, and basically your generation after the wind project is like the generation is 100% renewable, right? So where from this whole thermal, there's something I'm missing.
That is the thing. You see, as you have said, your own personal opinion, people need to make money. And so every time all these thermal plants everywhere, they need to be given some business. As you've said, they're just they're pickup plants. They'll be put on for a few hours, they continue charging. The same agreements that we signed that are bringing us problems. So in essence, we might have all that capacity, all that new clean energy but it does not reflect upon the affordability.
You do realize that what you are saying is that in essence, because the thermal capacity is there, somebody at Kenya Power will shut off the renewable and switch on the thermal so that they'll get some business. That's what you are saying. It's a bit different from our situation. Although the fundamental problem is the same, at least for us, without the thermal plants, we cannot meet our consumption.
Okay. Yeah. But think
about it, 40% is hydro.
Mm.
You get it?
But
so without the hydro, we cannot meet, there'll be a shortfall.
Yeah. But God, with the apart from geothermal doesn't suffer the problem of intermittency, right?
Oh, it's a stable source.
Yes. But you see, with the solar plants and the wind, those ones suffer. Those ones, they suffer the problem of intermittency.
Okay.
So, God, it is a big problem because.
But the wind and solar, generally speaking, cancel each other out in terms of intermittency. Generally.
Now, God, okay, let me tell you. Let me just give you some figures.
I'm sorry. It seems that I'm pressing certain buttons, but I really want to gain clarity.
No, definitely, by all means, because God, okay. Now, God, the thing is, Lake Turkana wind farm, the biggest one in Africa.
Yes.
That one, the capacity is about 300 and it's about 310 megawatts.
Okay.
You see, and we also have smaller ones in Ngong Hill, which are about 25 megawatts, even though there are plans to actually ramp up production.
Okay.
Yeah. So, God, we still do thermal. In Kenya, thermal accounts for about 11.5% of the grid.
Okay.
Yeah. And this thermal is what is bringing a lot of problems for us Kenyans. Because with the diesel, you find that you're having the power bills are not making sense. And that is the problem that we had. That is why the switch off KPLC campaign was actually started.
And what is the objective of this campaign? Just to switch off Kenya Power Company?
The people who actually went and gave Madame Jerotich say their bills, which actually showed that they had been overcharged, what they wanted was a refund from Kenya Power.
Okay.
Yeah. A parastatal paying out more than 2.1 million shillings. I mean, $2.1 million. That's a lot of money. You can imagine. The matter is still in court, but that is the main essence of it. And for them to actually stop overcharging clients.
That's the aim of the campaign.
Yeah.
Because the headline gives the impression that they should just close down the company. That's the impression from the headline.
Yeah. But God, if they end up paying 2.1 million, I don't know if they'll survive. That's a lot of money.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Relative to energy. No, energy is big money. As in to build, to run, and of course to consume. So $2.1 million. I'm sure that if you compare it to the average income, it's small change of the organization.
True.
The population is big. We have 50-something million dollars. Sorry, 53 million or so citizens. Ghana, we are 30 million. And even that one, Ghana Electricity Company of Ghana, the amount of revenue they generate. Unless you want to suggest that the per capita energy consumption of Kenya is lower, far lower than that of Ghana.
No, in fact, Kenya's per capita, it's actually higher than Nigeria's.
Oh, Nigeria is a good example for that because I have something like that. Per capita consumption per capita. For Kenya, I think I have 171. For Ghana, I have 300. Okay, so I think our per capita consumption is, I think, 40% higher than yours.
Yeah. So God, you see, now I've given you at least a brief history of what is going on. You now have a good idea of what is going on in Kenya to some extent.
Okay.
I'll tell you what I am thinking, because what has happened right now is that due to all the problems bedeviling the energy sector, especially the big projects, for me, it doesn't really matter whether it's green or not.
What matters is the fact that it is being controlled by the bureaucrats. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Who have their own set of criteria, basically.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, please continue.
So, yeah. So what is happening is Kenya Power's consumption has been going down year on year.
People are trying getting off the grid.
Yes.
Makes sense. Because I was going to ask you about the perception, because now people will not trust them as much. And if they have a viable alternative, they will use it.
That is the thing. And I am so happy to come and report and tell people that that is exactly what is happening. Kenya Power right now, it has 6,000 customers who account 6,000 customers who are the top energy users in the country. They account for 60% of the consumption.
They are corporates.
Yeah, exactly.
Commercial industrial consumers of energy.
Exactly. Now, I am in the solar energy sector. And more than half of these people, all of them right now are somehow looking into renewable energy for themselves in order to generate power for themselves.
In other words, 30% of their revenue is looking for an exit.
Exactly.
That is a big chunk.
Yes. And you see, because of the inefficiencies, you see, we cannot be having, we're commissioning new plants everywhere, every day. But at the end of the day, your power bill is actually rising instead of reducing. You see?
But to play the devil's advocates, a lot of the equipments are also not made in Kenya. They are imported. And since your economy is like ours here in Ghana, it means that you do a lot of importation of stuff. So your currency basically is on a one-way track down.
Yeah.
Related to the dollar. So the same generator that you buy today for $1, tomorrow it may be $1.50. Not because the price has increased, but because the currency has devalued to that extent. Or the same spare parts.
Yeah. But true, God. But God, if you have, you said it yourself. You look at some of the power purchasing agreements, the PPAs, they just don't make sense. They don't. And you see, before there was nothing that people could do. You just had to pay. Even the big commercials, you had to pay. For you to stay in business, it's a monopoly. But now people are having the option of, there's an option right now, renewable energy, and not just renewable energy from the grid, but you building your own plants. Okay. And they're looking at it and they're seeing that it is viable. And they're actually talking to their financiers. And in about 2 or 3 years, Kenya Power will be in problems, will be in real problems.
I think that story is going to be a story of sub-Saharan Africa.
Yes.
Please continue. I don't want to say what I was going to say.
Yeah, but so you see, God, and God, I'll just come back to the M-Copper and the the Last Mile project.
Have you worked for M-Copper before?
Have I?
You seem to be enthused with them. That's why I'm asking that question.
No, the reason why, and
it's a good example of the contrasting M-Copper and the Universal Access Program of the government. It's a good way of illustrating the problems of the Kenyan energy sector.
It is. You see, in fact, M-Copper is the biggest one, but it's by no means the only one. That's a funny thing. There are about 5 other large companies there as well in the space. So, in fact, if M-Copper's customers are about 300,000, I wasn't able to get the figures from the other companies, but you can imagine and you can see that it is much, much larger. The people who are using these small pico systems are so much more. And the reason why I keep using M-Copper, it's because it's, as you've said, it is clear as day and night. I'll use another illustration. You know, when we were growing up, we used to have the overhead telephone lines, right?
Yeah. You're going to talk about cellular telephone came.
Exactly. Then the mobile phone came. Now,
cost of access is cheaper, it's more convenient.
Exactly. You see, and that's the thing. If the African Development Bank is giving out loans to go and spread the grid everywhere, have they really thought it through?
Wait. Let me ask. When you say the grid, are you talking about GRID or GREED? Which are you talking about?
GRID. The grid, the infrastructure. Yeah. Yeah, the infrastructure. Because you see, and this is a fact, African countries actually leapfrogged from having fixed telephone lines. We did not incur that cost, and we went straight into mobile phones.
Yeah.
So, why have we really thought this through? And could we be having better networks? For me personally, I think the future is distributed small networks. Small grids.
What do we say about virtual power plants? I think that yes, that is true, but we are going to see more virtual power plants than just more, because you see, when the whole is bigger than the sum of the parts, because a no-brainer. In countries like Ghana, where at least the grid network is high, when the utilities realize what is happening, and if they are clever, just use your transmission lines or distribution lines, for this whole virtual power plants. But maybe in the villages where there's no infrastructure, no transmission or whatever, where even the cost of putting up a transmission line is prohibitive, then the pico and the micro and the mini grids will predominate. But in the cities, it's going to be the virtual power plant, especially for the residentials. For the commercial and industrial people, it's a different story. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, and God, I agree with you, because one thing you can see like Germany, what is the word? Their utility company, I think it's called E.ON. E.ON is basically almost it shrunk in terms of size, and it shrunk because everyone basically started producing their own electricity.
Yes.
Now, Germany is a country that I don't know how many months of sun does it have?
Oh, not a lot. And even the irradiance level is lower. It's way lower than Africa. I mean, when you look at the map, that argument, I know what you're coming to say, but I also think that, you see, some of these discussions is heavily reliant on context. All right.
Mm.
The decision makers, the policy makers, and the bureaucrats currently that are running our energy infrastructure were raised up on the 21st, sorry, on the 20th century industrial model. Okay. So
Yeah.
like the AFDB, the financiers, AFDB, what they understand is the government is doing a project, then they will give the government a big chunk of money to do the project. And the project understand that, okay, so for the project, then they will inflate the cost. And then if it's supposed to be $1, they will say it's $10. Then they will use
Exactly.
$9.20 to do the work. That's why to pocket. They pocket then $9.20 and use
Yeah.
only 80 cents for
80
the work.
cents to do it. Exactly.
That is how they understand the work also. But you see, we are in the 21st century, it's going to be a distributed energy model. Even the transmission lines, we are not talking about higher voltage DC transmission lines.
Exactly. Exactly.
Do you understand? It's a
Yeah.
whole new ball game, which is
Yes.
bi-directional.
Mm.
So you don't just, it's not just going in one direction. You can reverse direction.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So the management and control function is going to be so important. And even the generation is now variable. Look at using solar.
Mm.
Do you understand what I'm saying? It's a
Yeah, I
whole
do.
new, it's a whole new ball game. So
God.
it's going to be more software and process oriented
Yes.
rather than systems. You have this big transformer somewhere.
Exactly. Exactly.
So
Exactly.
you see the example you are giving in terms of infrastructure. A utility may shrink
Mm.
up in size, okay, but
Mm.
if it changes its business model, it may actually end up making more revenue.
Mm. That is the thing. Absolutely.
But our
Yeah.
people currently, I don't think that 98% of them can say that. I mean, I think, and this is also my personal opinion. Please,
Mm.
nobody jump on my neck. Uh, our energy commission, our energy regulator here is fantastic. When you
Mm.
talk to them, they know what's up.
Yeah.
They do get it. I cannot speak for Kenya, I cannot speak for Nigeria, South Africa, or whatever, but
Yeah.
at least the energy regulator here in Ghana,
Mm.
they know what they are about. If the position will allow them, I think they will be of great service. And that's a big if.
But you see, God, um, that is it's the same here in Kenya as well. You see, but you know, God, what I am happy about and what I'm saying is economics will change. You see, even if you don't want to change and you think that every day you'll be fleecing the people and everything, economics doesn't lie.
It's going to convince you.
Yeah.
I think that in that note, it seems that we agree a lot on a lot of things. I don't see any one issue that you disagree with so far.
Mm.
Anyway, I agree with you 100%. And
Mm.
to which I say that the Tesla battery investor day will actually put a date
Mm.
on the end of this whole Nikola Tesla, Thomas Edison great architecture that we are currently using. It will
Yeah.
be the death knell of the petroleum industry as we know it. Coal already is out.
Yeah.
Do you get it? Because the price that I expect them to announce, and from all indications,
Mm.
that they may even surpass, there's no way that the current grid can compete.
Mm.
So I agree with you. I think the conversation is very interesting. We'll have to split it into two parts.
I think so.
For
Yeah.
because this is up to now will be one part. Then we'll do a part two. So if you are watching, there will be a part two. But before we go, I wanted to ask one question. What are the top 3 barriers to the adoption of solar in Kenya currently? We have like 5 minutes to wind up.
Okay, good. The first one has to be initial cost.
Okay.
Because what you're seeing is that you want to go and design a system for someone. They're like, oh, yes, I want to use solar. I want to use solar. When you go and you give them the quotation, someone tells you, wait first. So the first thing has to be cost. And as you said, we are waiting and we are praying that Elon Musk can do something.
He will do something.
Yeah.
Something is coming to happen. Yeah. I'm telling you. And you see, that event, we want to live stream it. And we would like to be one of our guests for that live stream. We are going to do pre discussions. Then we will watch, then we will do post discussions, the implications of the announcements.
Yeah, we are waiting.
We are waiting.
If
we are watching this thing, know that that is the day that our the way we live our life will officially change forever when it comes to energy and transportation. And these are the foundations of our entire economy. Wherever you are, the shirt you are wearing, someone has to spend energy. The house you are sitting in, someone has to spend energy to build it. The car you are driving, whatever it is. And as you are there, almost everything you are consuming has to be transported at one stage or another to you. Even the air, the wind has to blow it somewhere for you to breathe.
It's true.
So watch out for that day.
Yep, very true.
I got excited.
No problem. It is allowed.
Okay.
The second thing is the level of service. Okay. You see, someone expects you to have a solar system that will work the same way as a grid system, whereby you understand when you're designing a solar system, you actually size for the use of the solar, So someone wants to, let's say, use an instant shower, instant hot water shower, which, quite frankly, will just, unless you have a really super-sized solar system, which will be too expensive, cannot really work.
Okay.
So the level of service, I guess that one would have to be more in terms of education. Because if I've sized your system, if I've sized a system that we know that will be about 2 kilowatts, and then now you want to put some other motor loads or something in the house, it's not going to work.
Okay.
So perhaps and we find that we have to really educate our clients, and you have to be really mindful of what exactly it is that you are doing. You see, right now, if you are using power from the grid, you honestly really don't care what it is you switch on. You can put the hot shower on, you can put 2 hot showers in the house on, you can put the washing machine on, you see. But now with the solar system, that can't be the case.
So it's a matter of the lack of awareness.
Exactly.
I think that because of the whole controversy with the Kenya Power, it has, at least in terms of finding solar to be a better alternative, it has driven that discussion. But in terms of the use, how they use it, and the business model, that one you are now educating the people, if I understand you correctly.
Yeah.
And what to be the third?
For me, quite frankly, God, if we could just get those two
done.
The
first two.
Yeah. For me, those are the
I was thinking that maybe you also mentioned the fact that some people have had some bad experiences with solar, and that may be a barrier because one of the challenges also in certain countries in Africa is the inferior service. So some of the operators, maybe the installers, they don't have
That is
enough
actually
technical know-how, or maybe the sort of equipment they are using are not up to
substandard.
supply equipment. So it
Wow,
also
God,
creates a bad taste in people's mouths.
God, I should have actually thought of that because I think 2 weeks
No, no, no,
ago.
no, no. It's fine. It's fine.
No,
I,
true,
I,
but
I, I will agree with you that this will be the first two here in Ghana. Now in Kenya, too, clearly this is the first two.
yeah,
It's
but
just that it's also one issue that I mean when you talk to certain people, you hear.
mm,
So I was wondering whether you mentioned it, but since you didn't mention it,
no, yeah, but God, 2 weeks ago, we had actually been called to a client's house,
okay.
and we went and basically the inverter was also connected to the grid,
So
and
it's
so
grid tied.
yeah, so they kept noticing that why is it that our power bills are not going down and yet we're using solar? So on further, we were called because we weren't the installers, but we were called. We went and we found, and I kid you not, the panels were wired wrongly. The voltage that was coming from the panels was not sufficient enough to charge the batteries. Now, if you've done solar, you know that's a very basic mistake. But someone had done it, and someone had gotten paid for that. So the level of training as well of the people who are actually handling some of these solar systems is a bit wanting. That is true.
Wow. Okay. I think my next guest, a boy,
Mm.
he is into training a lot, so that will come up. He also works for a regulator anyway, Gambian energy regulator. So thank you very much. This will be the end of part one. So for those watching, watch out for part two. That will be a separate video. I think this video will be like 40, 50 minutes long. But it's quite interesting. John,
Yes.
thank you very much for giving us your time and your expertise.
No problem, God.
I really enjoyed the interview. I think the next one will be more controversial.
I have a feeling.
I heard that people like controversy.